You're listening to Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marci Persky. In this installment, Marci is about to have major hand surgery, so she's quitting her job and learning how to unwrap candy with her tongue. I thought we were like a week away from you giving notice that you're not going to be the goddess of cats and kittens in your area anymore.
My last day as the cat maven is 3 days away.
Oh boy. I'm guessing they still have not found a replacement for you. I wonder why that is.
Here's just a little taste of what I do. I recruit fosters. I ensure fosters have supplies. I answer all the ARC phone calls. I keep track of the health of all the kittens and cats in the ARC. Call that statewide begging for them to help us. I fill out all the paperwork. Do you want me to keep going?
No, not at all. I don't want you to keep going. I've had enough. So you need to hire 2 people now.
Not me. She does.
I was talking with someone who's a theater director, and she asked me, have you ever heard of the concept of weaponized incompetence? And I said, I haven't heard it described in just those words, but I've certainly seen it on display all my life. And anyone who cares about you would say, the heck with the cat rescue and the disorganized cat rescue creator and worry about your surgery that's coming up.
I'm going to be 3 months recovery.
I think if I were a believer, I'd say the good Lord has sent you this affliction to spare you from a lifetime of neutering kittens. That's what I would say. And spaying, well, it sounded better. Neutering has a better ring to it, but there will be a withdrawal period. And you need to just kind of get into a meditation of, this is not my responsibility. This is not my problem. This is not my fault. And I think that you need to write that in big marker and hang it on your refrigerator. Somehow she got along before you and she's going to get along after you. She just won't sleep at all.
That's true. I did clean up the mess.
Yeah.
So what she needs to do now is just not mess it up again, but I don't have.
That's not your, one more time, not your responsibility. Not your problem, not your fault.
In 3 days, starting around 5 p.m., my whole job is going to be sitting in a chair crying and moaning.
I like that job. I would do that job. Speaking of the job of sitting in a chair crying and moaning, I saw the worst possible play. We thought we'd try a new small theater that was in this little small theater space, and they're all shiny-eyed and clear-cheeked, and they're so excited. And I should have known. It was a warning when they said, there's music in the play. Some people find it too loud, so here's a big jar of earplugs.
Oh, no.
So they took a show by a very famous woman playwright. Have you ever seen somebody wearing a shirt that you know they should have thrown out like 6 months ago?
Yeah, my husband.
Mine too. Like it's shredded around the neck from their beard and their holes from all yellow and sweaty pitted and stained up, and there may be some holes. And yeah, that was what they did to this play. Just like that shirt, it might have looked good once, but not after they got through with it. Here's the worst part of going to be one of the first people at a small anything, like small club, small band, small restaurant. At the same time that you don't want anybody else to have the horrible experience you're having, and at the same time as you hope that there would be miraculously perhaps some kind of terrible gas leak that would require them to evacuate the premises, or maybe a fire, or maybe some drunk driver would just run his or her car just like right through the front window and nobody would get seriously hurt, but everybody would have to. When you are praying for a natural disaster, you know it's a bad scenario. And you also, at the same time, because they're young and fresh-faced and, just moved here from Kearney, Nebraska, you don't want to...
They need to go back to.
Yeah, yes, they need to go back there, but you don't want to be the one to disabuse them of the idea that they have a theater company. You don't want to be the one to say, you might have been the star of your Girl Scout troop review, but this is Chicago, and you can't do this.
Walked out of a show?
Oh, yeah. Although usually if it's really stinkaroony, I prefer to stay and collect all the details of the disaster to use later as material. When it's just kind of sort of bad and not really good and forgettable, I get annoyed. But a really stinkeroony job makes you feel better about so many other things in your life. It makes you feel like your work is better. It makes you appreciate good work when you see it. It makes you feel like, why should I be ashamed to have a bomb or a flop? Look at these people. They don't even know that they're bombing and flopping. And so that is why when something is truly, truly awful, I'm happy.
Well, see, now that many years have passed, I can make an admission that I was a music critic for a long time, and I would interview rock stars, whatever, country stars, and then go to their concerts and write a review.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were really bad, and some of them were just awful, 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 and I still hold grudges against them because they were so awful, I would pull out earplugs and go to sleep. What if I was in the second row? And one of the bands is one of Frankie's favorite bands. And anytime they come around, he has to go see him. And I'm just like, no, no, no.
I
I
can't
already
believe
slept through him once.
you can sleep through that. The loudest band I ever saw was Hawkwind. I don't know if you remember them. They were
Yeah.
so loud that and I was there with my boyfriend who was a photographer, and we were in the pits. So you're really close. So the only way to get a little less sound was to go like right up against the stage so that the speakers went over you and the monitors went the other way. And so I put in 2 pairs of earplugs and slammed myself up as close to, and everybody must have thought I was like a groupie or something and hoped to get their sweat on me. But I finally left and I took a book and sat in the lobby and read.
I read this morning that there were country music awards on TV, and Alan Jackson, you know
Mm-hmm.
who he is?
Yes, I do.
Very famous country guy.
Yeah.
He's got to be pretty old now, but he was good looking back in the day.
Well, that's what
Anyway,
they say about us too. So let's be
that's
let's
true.
be gentle. Let's be
Okay,
nice.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. He was sitting in the front row, and I guess Beyonce came on to sing at the Country Music Awards
Really?
with the Chicks,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he got up and walked out.
No.
Yeah, and he gave an interview afterwards and said that first of all, that segment should have honored the Chicks, not make them Beyonce's backup singers. And second of all, Beyonce has absolutely nothing to do with anything within the realm of country music.
I'm guessing that between the time he got up and walked out and the time he gave that interview, his agent called and said, "You better say something or everybody's going to say this is political against the Chicks."
I don't know, because he's always been really outspoken about country music staying within its, whatever you want to call
Well,
it.
country music's
It's
lane
it's
has
pod.
changed a lot. Country music has evolved.
I think that his issue was that it was the Country Music Awards and she was singing pop. She wasn't singing country. And she had a very well known country group acting as her
Yeah,
backup.
that's not cool if they made them sing backup. But I will say, having had the sad, sad, sad misfortune of working in country music radio when it was probably at its very lowest, I would say Juice Newton and Crystal Gale. That when you're
Juice Newton.
when you're famous for your hair
Or your name.
or your name, it was a bad time for country music, and I can't imagine that even Beyonce singing country music could be any more painful than "Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue." I just can't see it. I
I
just
don't know.
can't. I can't. And then
I'm
on
thinking,
top of that, funny we should be talking about country music because I had to look up the lyrics to "Goodbye Old Pain, I'm Leaving Cheyenne." Don't ask me why I had to look up the lyrics to "Goodbye
that's
Old
the Western of
Pain."
country and
That's
Western.
right. I had to look it up. And sometimes you learn things about some performers that you really like that you really wish that you didn't know, like their politics. Like, I don't want to know that somebody who sang a beautiful version of this, whose music I've admired for a long time, is involved in anti-government standoffs with the FBI. I don't want to know that.
You have to expect it at a certain point.
What, after what country music rots your brain? Is that what you're saying?
Certain elements of country music, yes.
No.
I think that country music as a whole is, well, now it's different because now you have Maren Morris and you have some other voices in there. But for a long time, country music was bro music. And I'm talking about modern, not Hank Williams, not the old guys. And I just want to be fair here because I'm a rocker, but rock and roll was just as sexist, you know?
Yeah, right. Well, I worked in rock and roll radio when you still couldn't play two women back to back. So, yeah.
Yep.
Because they all sounded the same. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that Pat Benatar sounded just like Madonna.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Oh, man, have you seen Madonna lately, by the way?
Thank God, no.
She doesn't listen, so, oh my
God.
God.
No, she's not one of our 2 listeners.
We have 3 now.
Right.
She has had so much plastic surgery. I'm like, why don't you look in a mirror? You are scary. She's got a big, long face now. And she always had like that round face, you know, that like a virgin face.
I don't know. I can't be bothered to spend a lot of time looking at Madonna. That would be, I mean, even the 5 seconds that it might take me to compare 2 photographs of Madonna would be 5 seconds I could never have back. And I'd rather spend those 5 seconds. I don't know. I could pop a peanut M&M in my mouth in those 5 seconds.
Actually, I'm eating 3 M&Ms a day. Speaking of that, it's my new.
Your new Joan Rivers as
control my sugar intake.
Okay. Well,
I have a blood test today.
Look at this. Look.
Yep.
There they are, the bite-sized Halloween peanut M&Ms.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not eating the peanuts. I'm just eating the 3 M&Ms a day. 3 plain ones.
That's a waste.
Boom, boom, boom.
Now, so you have to have the peanut ones. That way you can tell yourself that they're good for you. And now that Halloween is over, you can go down to the drugstore and buy it all at 75% off.
I might, just for the next 2 days. Because I don't think I can unwrap candy with just my left hand.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. If your husband is ever really, really, really angry at you, this is the opportunity while you're recovering from surgery. Here's what he should do. He should get big versions of all your favorite candy bars, spread them out in front of you, like one of those intelligence tests for laboratory animals, and say, here, try and open one of these today while I'm at work. And just see.
Don't give him ideas.
Oh, this should be good. I'd like to have a camera in the corner of the room watching you try and figure out. Seriously, it'll be like one of those lab experiments where they test to see if the monkey can undo the puzzle.
Oh, you're calling me a monkey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe he should get you whatever the Marci equivalent of a Kong is. For those who don't have dogs, the Kong is a dog amuser. It's a big rubber thing. It looks like a toilet plunger, if you want to know the truth, but it's not. It's shaped sort of like a beehive, you know, those ascending layers, and in each end there's a little opening, and then you stick a treat in there, and the dog is supposed to peanut butter, yeah, if your dog likes peanut butter, and your dog is supposed to spend an entire day. I've never had a dog that would devote 3 seconds to a Kong, and I'm with the dog. I can respect a dog that doesn't want to work too hard for a lousy teaspoon of peanut butter.
I was just gonna say
too much work.
They're all over the dog yard. And I'm looking out the window right now at my dog literally eating a log.
Your dog would rather eat the log than spend any time trying to. Yeah, the Kong thing is highly, I think it's a scam. Or else
I think
we're
losing
smarter.
a sponsor.
We have
a sponsor.
We have smarter dogs, though.
Add them to the list.
When people say to me, there's a contest with a giant, amazing prize, I say, screw it, I'll just buy one. Thank you, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to compete with anybody for something I can go out and buy. If you've made it this far, chances are you've been enjoying Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. In which case, you might also like my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. You can find that at your neighborhood independent bookstore or on Amazon. Marci and I really appreciate your good reviews wherever you care to leave them. Your kind words help the podcast grow. Thanks.